Hi, everybody. I'm Terrell. It's time to start having what some might call very uncomfortable conversations about race relations in our community. I'm using this internet show, Terrell Talk, to help get some of those conversations started. George Floyd's body was laid to rest in Houston, but protests around the world continue.
You see whites, you see Asians, you see people from all different background, colors, and creeds that are coming together saying, hey, enough is enough.
Historically, these kind of protests among black people is not new. But what is new? The diversity of the protesters. People of all different races, ages, and socioeconomic backgrounds standing and walking side by side as a single voice. It's being called a movement. It includes the United States and many other countries. And it's the same story here at home. In one case, several mostly white protesters arrested after they blocked 3rd and Broadway, a busy intersection in downtown Little Rock. 28 people were taken into custody. One of those protesters, Morgan Leyenberger. She was in the middle of it, taken away in handcuffs and booked into the Pulaski County Jail. Morgan joins me now via Skype to talk about it. Hi, Morgan.
Hi, Donna.
I'm wondering what inspired you to join the protests?
I've just been really heartbroken and disgusted by state-sanctioned violence. And we've had so much access to that information, to those videos, for years now. In Little Rock, after the murder of Bradley Blackshire, I was really moved to action and linked up with organizers who were demanding change at the local level. And so as soon as I found out that there was a protest this last Tuesday, I was there.
Well, you posted a video on your Facebook page of the bus ride to the Pulaski County Jail. And if you listen to it, you hear all the protesters singing the song "Lean on Me." Now, I was watching the actual arrest on Facebook Live, and I was noticing some of the comments people were making that the majority of those arrested were white. Can you explain how that came about?
Sure. That protest was called a die-in. And so the idea was that black protesters would lay in the street, which really sort of brings up the way in which black bodies are terrorized. And white allies were asked to stand in protection around the bodies. And so when it came time or rather, I guess when the police approached the protesters, we were asked to move and we refused. And so folks who were willing and able remained in the street, and there just happened to be a strong line of white allies who continued to stand in protection of black protesters.
And that leads to the fact that this really has become a movement, wouldn't you say? Because in history, we haven't seen a lot of this happening in this country.
Absolutely. I think that this has been growing for years. But I think that because of this moment that we're in, where, around the world we have the shared experience of, being in quarantine, I think that people are really connecting to each other and really empathizing with and deeply feeling the ways that this violence against black people is unconscionable.
Morgan, do you get a lot of pushback from people you know because of your involvement?
I'm lucky to not experience that a lot sort of in my inner circle. But certainly, I have experienced some pushback. And I think that even, within the Little Rock community, there are different kind of perspectives about where this should go and the ways that we need to move forward. And so certainly that is everyone's reality to some extent.
And speaking of moving forward, the big talk as a result of the protests is defunding police departments, which is intended to reallocate police spending toward other community resources. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I think that that's a hugely important point. I think that that's something that we really need to deeply consider. You know, police aren't particularly good at providing social services. In fact, they're terrible at providing social services. And the reality is that we don't have a bunch of criminals running around. We have people in need. And so I think that the more that we can reframe the conversation and reimagine restorative justice and the ways that communities can come together to build resources and build each other up, I think that the healthier we will be as a city.
And you've kind of answered this, but ultimately, what would you like the outcome of this movement to be?
I mean, I think that in our particular town, we have to see Charles Starks fired. That just has to happen. You know, if we think about the larger protest, I do think that talks of abolishing or defunding the police in favor of supporting social programs and resource allocation is really important. You know, I think that there's a lot of ways to get there, but, you know, for us, those are kind of the most important.
Okay, do you plan to get out there and protest anymore?
Oh, yes.
It's not over yet, right?
No, this will be the long haul, you know, like this is not the kind of thing that happens in a few days. I mean, we've already seen change. We've already seen commitments by municipalities, but until we see that in Little Rock, we won't stop.
Okay. Morgan Leyenberger, thank you so much for joining me for Terrell Talk. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in on Fox16.com. I hope to have more discussions like this on Terrell Talk soon. So I'll see you next time.